Hi, and welcome back to Spirit Lounge. Hope you guys are doing well, and a continuation of our journey through the Shinto, Japanese Shinto. And today we're talking about the Jinja, so we're just going to bring that straight onto the screen now. What is Jinja? We'll go straight into that. First, we will do a quick intro. So as you know, Shinto is native to Japan. It's the native if you can call it religion or spiritual practice, heavily influenced by nature. It was not really cultivated by a single person. It's true, it doesn't have doctrines. It doesn't really, or it has a kind of loose doctrine. It doesn't have a central book. It doesn't have a central place. It doesn't have a central figure. It doesn't have a central founder. It doesn't have a central effigy or god to define. And it was built many thousands of years ago, pre-Christianity, and it has gone through many transformations, and also was being influenced by Buddhism in the past as well. And the Restoration period, around the Edo period, was where they kind of removed Buddhism and other Western influences from it to get it back to the Koshinto, or the Yamakaja Shinto, or the Koshinto, which is the original form of it. And we're going through that today and through the series of videos that we have coming up. And so what is Jinja? So let me just make sure. Okay, just let me know if the music, any comments if the music's too loud. Do let me know the background music's too loud, it's overpowering the voice, then please do let me know, because I don't want it to be overpowering the volume. Okay, so in Shinto, the term Jinja is used for a shrine. So the Jinja is the shrine. The shrine is the place where the worship is done, although it can be done without a shrine. And it's more literally the dwelling place of kami. So kami is regarded as being in the shrine. And the shrine is always usually built within a very behind a holy rock or a mountain or a large tree, which is revered for its spiritual nature, if you like, or the age of it. So 80,000 such buildings are in Japan, of which 6,000 have resident kanushi, which are Shinto masters overseeing them. These are shrines. 280 shrines are famous and called kanpisha, or high status, relation with upper class families, including the emperors. There are also kokuhei sha shrines supported by local governments. Shinto show obvious differences with Buddhism. For example, marks or symbols such as the torii gate, the shimenawa, which is the painted straw rope to protect a shrine, a sacred mirror, which is at the back of the shrine, and hakokei, which is a paper cut in a particular form, which is at the front of the shrine. Buddhist temples that also include a shrine for a tutelary deity or a guardian deity, various styles of shrines, some of which do not have a chigi or a katsuogi, distinguishing feature of a Shinto shrine. Shrines were built in imitation of the early Japanese Buddhists. The Middle Ages Buddhist ideas gradually blended with the way of the kami, so they kind of started to absorb them way into Shintoism, and so their rituals acquired similar characteristics. Originally, however, Shinto did not have a building or a mirror to mark the sacred era, so these were brought in by the event of Buddhism. Present Shinto practices, a building is used for worship in which is placed a symbolic object called Koshinto, the body of kami, Kami, remember, being spirit or spirits. The spirit of Kami, which is a Shinrai, the spirit of Kami comes down to manifest its presence in this world and is in the form and is reflected through the mirror. And where were we here? In this world, buildings containing Go-Shintai are considered as places where Kami reside within. Kami neither reside permanently in buildings nor in Go-Shintai. And as was mentioned before here, I'm trying to find the place. I lost it there. Are considered a place where Kami reside. In the past, people created a proper sacred place, celebrated and worshipped there, and welcomed the spirit of Kami. So basically, they welcomed the spirit Kami into the places where they worship, into the shrines themselves. And the mirror is a reflection of the spirit of Kami coming out into the world. And they have these paper origami style symbologies in front of it, representations of Kami. Okay, Kanabi, Iwasaka, Himorogi, where people welcome the spirit as Kami, as Yuniwa, or in other words, a purified yard or a court. A special place is called Kanabi, the center where the spirit of Kami comes down to be present. There is called Itsu no Iwasaka. In a traditional practice, positioning of a sakaki tree at the center of the sacred place, it acted as an invocation of the spirit of Kami. So in other words, as I mentioned before, they have a sacred tree. Now this could be a sakaki tree with in the middle of the purified yard or court, which is another invocation of Kami to come into the shrine or around into this place of worship. But the shrine itself is chosen to be built near another sacred place of nature. That could be a mountain, a large rock, another large natural artifact, or it could even be a large tree. So it is acting as an invocation of the spirit of Kami. Himoroji functions as a yorishori for the spirit of Kami. Yorishori is a spiritual antenna. So in other words, they put the tree there as a spiritual antenna. The whole place is a spiritual antenna to bring Kami down into that place so that it can be worshipped or hear the worship. So there are several types of yorishori. These are trees, stones, rocks, or in some cases animals, as I mentioned before. Himoroji and Iwasaka are ancient terms that can be found in the Chronicles of Japan of 720. Describe the arrival on earth of the descendants of the sun goddess. Later, people began hooking hakukeo, which is paper cut in special ways, hemp material, a mirror, or other objects on the branches of the Himorogi, which became the temple, and then ended up being more of a shrine. Many of these special places, known as Kanabi, were beautifully shaped mountains. The great shrines formerly connected with noble families, emperors' families, generally have a mountain behind them. Originally, the Kanabi are found in Omiwa Jinja in Nara Prefecture. This type of Kanabu mountain consists mostly of a huge rock. Where the spirit of Kami descends, this rock is called Iwakara. An example of a huge rock is the huge rock of Mount Kimakuru in Kamano province. Okay, Koshinto, which means original Shinto of ancient times. Koshinto promotes the independent spiritual mental training of each person. Through Koshinto, a systematic method of training has been handed down from ancient times. The institutionalized shrine exists for ritual services and prayers that reflect the rhythms of everyday life. It responds to immediate and practical concerns. Koshinto allows the seeker to reach beneath the ritualized surface. Koshinto, or Yamakaja Shinto, has been handed down through many generations. Yamakaja Shinto contains within it knowledge of ceremony, manners, rituals, methods of divination, traditional medicine, among an array of other things. Shinto is the consciousness underlying the Japanese mentality, culture, and values. Caring for the spirit of nature by Shinto is a principal duty of human beings to care for and preserve their environment. So remember that the Japanese Shinto came from the worship of nature. To live within nature rather than attempting to dominate or destroy it, very much a Western failing. In Shinto, heaven and earth and humanity are different manifestations of one life energy. Well, this is the same as what was in the previous chapter. For more than 1,000 years, the Japanese have believed that kami, the powers of spiritual nature, can make contact with human beings through trees and so forth. At the Ko-Shintō is a practice of immersing the body in water. While this ritual is one of the physical cleansing, the purification of the body also represents the purification of the mind and spirit, as we've gone before, some of it's repeated. The mystery of the Iwakura rock seat is the Oyamasumi Jinja is located at Akuta in Kita Kyushu City. This particular shrine had only Iwakara even after the war. The sacred trees were still thriving on the site. Before long, those trees had been cut down and the shrine building was created. Shrines such as Iyomatsumi Jinja, where the Iwakara shrines with direct rays from the sun at both sunrise and sunset, are survivors of the most ancient and authentic form of Shinto. So these are places you can actually visit. These shrines are places you can actually visit to see the original shrines that were created, where you see the sun. The sun is important because it reflects through the mirror, and it's seen as where the divine. So it's using the same methodology as some of the other religions, where the sun is a powerful spiritual force and symbolic. We have such an Iwakara at the top of Mount Omiwa in Nara. It is also often the case that there flows a special spiritual energy from this kind of Iwakara. In Okinawa, women with psychic powers or spiritual sensitivity are known as Noro, or priestess, or Yuta, psychic medium. Among the Yuta, there are sometimes people who suddenly manifest psychic or spiritual sensitivity only when they are older. They go to Utaki for worship, and they feel the spirit of kami descending upon the site. After the spirit of kami descends, a place becomes Jinja, i.e. a shrine. For a Jinja, one must choose a suitable place, then create an appropriate setting for a sacred space. Then it is necessary to ask kami to descend upon it and makes its presence felt. Jinja, or the shrine, need not be a place where kami have dwelled eternally or will always live. We call the shrine Kimigaki or Kamikashiro. Both words mean a place where kami stays, but Yoshiro means temporal house. The ancients behaved that it did not matter if a shrine was small and simple, because there is a huge shrine much bigger in the word of the spirit of kami. A festival ritual called Kanmizusai, they dedicate clothing to kami. Katoshiro, an object made as a temporary representation for the underlying spiritual reality. Kami itself does not reside in this shrine. The guardian spirit is said to reside there. The guardian spirit protects Kamizane, the kami's core. The role of this guardian spirit is to connect this earthly world with the higher world of kami. So in other words, there are sometimes guardian spirits, but not in all shrines. Remember, not all shrines are regarded as having guardian spirits, nor having Shintoist masters overseeing them. But there are places just where the kami is called down through prayer, is attractive because its location for the spirit to come down before any ritual, prayer, offering, or ceremony is conducted. The proper attitude of mind for welcoming kami. So how do you bring the kami? Is first choose carefully an appropriate place and arrange it in a way the task with great care and with deep open-hearted sincerity. In Shinto, the Kannushi certainly must have a special knowledge of the proper way of kami. The Kannushi being the master practitioners. To welcome conduit kami, he needs to be thinking and acting in good faith. Know Not to matter how hard a Kanuchi try to communicate with Kami, if he cannot truly feel the presence of Kami in his heart, then the spirit of Kami does not ascend. Kanushi, to have a reverential attitude with a feeling of awe and to prostrate himself in front of Kami as an apologetic attitude. The Kanushi must have an awe-inspired and humbled attitude. Feel like saying, I am not worthy of evoking Kami and of being in front of the presence. I have much pollution within me and I am an unclean person. I beg forgiveness from the bottom within me and I am an unclean person. I beg forgiveness from the bottom of my heart and pray you will purify me. I disagree with all of this stuff. So this is almost making yourself a lesser being, demeaning one's spiritual essence, and not understanding that this Kami that they're bringing down is really them. Just because they're embodied in a spirit, it doesn't mean you're not the same. You're trying to become divine. But these Kami that they're invoking are also not all divine. There are elements of nature, there are spiritual deities, but they're not the divine single force either, as we'll find out later videos on Shinto. So this self-deprecating nature that I am not worthy, I am lesser than, I am polluted. Well, of course, what does that mean? It just means that we're not perfect. We can never be perfect in body, but this degrading and flagellation type activity that they have in Catholicism is in Orthodoxy is not something I espouse, nor would I recommend. You must stand firm and straight, with straight spine, head held high and looking forward when you speak to the divine. It wants your strength, it wants your power, it wants to see you stand firm in its own light if you wish to become it. Not cowering down and bowing and having arched backs and lesser than, like something crawling on all fours toward a shrine. This is a distortion in understanding which people just seem to have. Some following and some practitioners, some spiritualists have lost themselves in. Reflect reference and respect towards Kami by the integrity of their daily character, being around that person. Appreciate the outer inequalities, which we often call fragrance. So what they're saying is someone who's actually performing this principle well, you can tell by their fragrance when you're around that individual. Kanushi, who are men and women of such noble character, the Kanushi serving in a shrine should be sincere, should be sincere. Should be sincere, otherwise the act of reverence cannot become truly pure, and the shrine cannot become a suitable uniwa. The spirit of Kami depends upon how well the Kanushi cultivates his moral character on a daily basis. So it's important that whoever's overseeing is of good character, in other words, for the Kami to truly represent themselves in the power that they're seeking. Okay. Hakunusegi Arai says the power of the divine light increases by receiving human reverence. Spiritual energy will not be enhanced at the sight of the shrine, and the light of Kami's spirit will not permeate there until people pray to Kami with profound, sincere reverence. I think this is the case in any place of worship. You must feel the divine in your heart for the more power for it to be surrounding that place. The purpose of the shrine is not to impose a single idea, but to create a pervasive sense of reverence and awe, and so enable us to access the spiritual dimension. Why Jinja avoids kigare, impurity or uncleanness? So why does it have to be clean and has to be pure? The shrine itself and the area around the shrine. The body of Kami, called Katashiro, is usually represented by the mirror. So the mirror is a reflection of the spirit of Kami, or those Kami that they're trying to bring down. When a mirror is put in the right place, the spirit of Kami descends upon the mirror. Spiritual vibration permeates the surrounding area. The mirror becomes Kamizani. If the spirit of Kami always visits the shrine, only then does it become the shrine where Kami is present. The spirit of Kami has a great power of purification. Kami is often enveloped and folded many times. Kamidoko, or the Kami floor, which is called a Naijin, the sanctuary of the main shrine. The Geijin is the inner wall of the main shrine. Why is the cleanliness of the shrine protected many times over? Well, it's the same reason for any shrine, I would suspect. Any place of worship. The body of Kami and the place for the descent of the spirit of Kami are still physical matter itself, and matter can be easily contaminated. Keep the whole of the sacred space clean and pure. When the sacred area is contaminated, the spiritual vibration of the spirit of Kami cannot permeate. The spiritual light is cut off. The spirit of Kami does not clean the impurity by itself. It simply turns off the source switch of spiritual vibration and light. What is enshrined is not Kami itself, but rather the guardian spirit guarding Kamizane, which is such as the mirror, which is actually Katashiro for Kami, an object temporarily representing Kami. This guardian spirit also leaves unclean places and avoids humans who are not respectful. So in other words, we have to make sure the shrine and the surrounding area, which is specially chosen, is clean, is pure, it sanctifies, it's prayed over, it's blessed. People come into it are clean, are performing the rituals of cleanliness before they enter the place so that the Kami can enter. Opening the path of Kami. In Yamakami Shinto, before prayers are offered to Kami, the sanctuary enshrined, the body of Kami is first purified with Hare Nusa, which is through the tool of purification, which should be made of linen of hemp cloth. After purifying the offerings of food and tamagushi, a spig of a sacred tree, participants are finally purified. In order to request the spirit of Kami to descend, Kamizane as Yoshiro has to be purified. Yoshiro is a worldly base, a temporary container of Kami, essential to cleanse. We first have to purify our own prayers and path. In Yamakaji Shinto, we call this opening the path to Kami. In order to open the path through which the spiritual wave of Kami spirit can pass, we first cleanse the path. The Kamizani or Yoshiro, when everything and everybody involved is purified, humans possibly come in contact with the spirit of Kami. Okay, the domain of the lower level spirits. The spirit of Kami does not visit unclean places, as we've already discussed, and an unclean shrine becomes a mere building. Mitamashiro is a material object temporarily representing spirit, such as a mirror. Many Kanushi are aware of this impurity. A growing number of shrines are without the presence of the spirit of Kami. In some shrine buildings, when Kanushi of low spiritual levels are serving, one can sense the process of shady low-level spirits. These correspond to the Kanushi's own level of spiritual development. It often happens that only malevolent spirits, not good spirits, gather in places where large sums of money are demanded from visitors. This happens with newly established religious groups. Thus, even a shrine known as a sacred place in the past can become the domain of malevolent spirits if people no longer offer prayers or take time and care to keep it clean. So in other words, what's happening here, it's saying a shrine which is properly cleansed and pure and real spiritual practice is performed, and the Kanushi overseeing it has an elevated state of spirituality. It attracts more elevated and ascended spiritual Kami. What it's also saying is those shrines or places of worship, Shintoish worship, which either don't have a Kanushi or Kanushi which is yet to be developed, which is yet developing into a more elevated state, is not pure. It's not pure. The area is not clean, and it just asks for money. It's a more materialistic gathering where there's constant donation asking for it. It's losing its spiritual purity of intent, and as a result, it will attract low-level spiritual Kami. This, again, as I mentioned before, it may not have a doctrine, but when we're talking about low-level and higher-level spirits, this is also talking about astral-level spirits, those of darker tendencies towards the left and those of light and divine tendencies towards the right. It's the same in every faith. They're describing it differently here. The nuance is only small. What is the household shrine? The household shrine is kamidana. So this one in the home. Kamidana household altar can be considered a little shrine. Welcome the spirit of kami. Therefore, we set it up in an appropriate place and in an appropriate way. Excuse me, my contact lenses are moving around. Carefully keep it clean and offers prayers with a rearing heart and mind. Noble of spirit of kami will permeate there. We must out kamizane and other things there with a proper formal procedure. There are several ways to enshrine a shrine inside a home and cleanse it. It can be set up in a high position. It can be at a floor level that has 3 or 4 steps to it. This is called the floor of kami. It can be kept in a special niche or a tokonamo with a hanging scroll and the name of kami written on it. Avoid the northeast and southeast corner. To consult with a reliable kanushi, a charm, which is an afuda, that people obtain from a shrine is solely a symbol and not a kamizane. Then it is recommended to face forward. The afuda, which is the charm, there is no kamidana or home altar. As long as people worship with, if there's no home altar, as long as people worship with reverence and pray with focused attention, they can open the path to the spirit of kami. Don't really need a shrine. We should avoid indiscriminately cramming charm cards from many different shrines into a little shrine at home. Okay, and that's the end of that. This we talked about Jinja, which is shrines, how you set up shrines, how to clean and purify the area, whether it's in a major shrine where it has a kanushi overseeing it, or something at home. The shrine is a place where focused worship, but it also talks about where you don't need a shrine. And this is the inner church. This is why we're talking the bridegroom. The bridal chamber is within. Same in Shinto. You can do your own silent prayer, silent worship, which ultimately, as you read in the first video, as we went through, is where you'll end up in the end. And see only grace before you, because that's all there is really. Life will manifest and transform before you along that passage, but see grace in every action, every word, every intention you have in life. Make it transformative. It is always you. Make it matter and make it in charge of your own being, because then it has real transformational power, and it will provide you with what you need to move forward in the things that you seek. Okay, so I'm going to put the webcam on now, and I want to say thank you again for listening to this. I appreciate it. The book I showed on the previous, all that is available. It's actually being, I'm not actually making any money. I sell it at cost. So whatever it costs from Amazon to print, whatever it costs them to digitize, that is how it's sold. I don't make any money out of anything that I write. It's not my intention is to share information. There will be another book coming in the future. Don't know how many years that may be away, but it will be coming. But feel free to get that. It's very cost effective. It's nominal in cost. It's just whatever Amazon, their production cost, in other words, is what you're buying it for. Again, thank you again for listening to this. I truly appreciate it. God bless you all until next time, and hope to see you again on the next video. Thanks again. Bye-bye.